And now we turn our attention to Indonesia, another important market in the Asia-Pacific region. Please join me in welcoming Azi from Reach24H, Indonesia office, who will walk us through the latest regulatory updates and compliance requirements for cosmetics in Indonesia. Azi is a licensed pharmacist and regulatory specialist with very deep experience in cosmetics and food and pharmaceutical. She has managed registration for both ASEAN and non-ASEAN markets, including Korea, Japan, EU, and US. So let's give a warm welcome to Azi. So Azi, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Marcy from Reach24H Indonesia, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all today. Thank you for joining us in exploring Indonesia's cosmetic regulation from product notification to halal certification. This webinar is held as part of 17th Chemical Regulatory Annual Conference 2025, and we're excited to take you through some of the most important aspects of cosmetic compliance in Indonesia. To help guide you through today's presentation, here's a quick overview of the content and structure we'll be covering. First, market overview. Secondly, regulatory landscape. Then, product notification process. It will include legal entity registration, local representation and licensing, importer recommendation, notice cost account registration, responsible person requirements, and import requirements. And fourth, product requirements. This will also cover ingredient requirements, contaminant, labeling, and also claims. And lastly, for special consideration, that is halal certification in Indonesia. Let's begin by gaining an overview of cosmetic market. According to the Statista, the cosmetic market in Indonesia is projected to generate revenue of approximately $2.09 billion in 2025. This market is expected to grow steadily with an annual growth rate or CAGR of 4.73% from 2025 to 2030. Here's the chart of the cosmetic revenue in Indonesia in million US dollar by Statista. It shows that the cosmetic sector in Indonesia remained resilient and consistently grew year by year. The revenue increased over the recent years, including the pandemic. The market remained stable and continued to rise. When we expand the scope to include a broader beauty and personal care market, the growth is more significant. The beauty and personal care market in Indonesia is forecast to grow by an additional $2.3 billion between 2025 and 2030, marking plus 23.6% increase. By 2030, it is estimated to reach a record high by billion by 2023. Further insight from Invest in Asia highlight that this sector includes various subcategories such as skincare, personal care, and makeup. With skincare emerging the largest segment as of now, skincare alone is valued at $2 billion and expected to grow at remarkable 9.4% through 2028. And expected to grow at remarkable to 2028. This trend emphasizes not only the robustness of the cosmetic and personal care industry in Indonesia, but also enormous for international brands, local innovation, and long-term investment. According to the Consumer Trend on Beauty Industry 2024 by Jakpat, 100% makeup users are female. However, when it comes to skincare, the consumer base is more diverse. 36% of male using skincare, showing that skincare is gaining popularity among men as well. Taken from 2023 beauty report, skincare is now considered more essential than makeup. People are increasingly prioritizing skin health, which is reflected in the higher usage of skincare products compared to the makeup. The majority consumers, 88%, prefer the products over the prescribed products. Only 4% use prescribed products, and while the remaining 8% using combination of both. Prescribed skincare here refers to product obtained from beauty clinics based on a doctor or dermatologist recommendation. Meanwhile, the drugstore skincare refers to the skincare product that does not claim to have medical or therapeutic effects and considered safe for daily use without doctor supervision. There are typically basic skincare products intended for general skin maintenance and available at pharmacies or convenience stores. This data is drawn from 2024 Indonesia Consumer Trend Survey involving 1,708 all respondents. Clearly shows that skincare is becoming a daily necessity for both women and male, with accessible and non-prescription products dominating the market. Still, according to the 2024 Consumer Trend Beauty Industry report by Jakpat, e-commerce remains a top channel for purchasing beauty products in Indonesia, driven by its accessibility and convenience. 86% of female consumers prefer to shop via e-commerce platform. But interestingly, 49% of men are still purchasing their beauty products through the offline store, such as mini market or supermarket. It is a significantly higher than compared to the 32% female consumer using an offline retail. What we can conclude from the data of the market overview. First, skincare products remain the most in-demand category. It is shown from the consistently high revenue compared to the makeup. Skincare also has a broader consumer base, including both men and women. And also consumer awareness has grown. Many now feel confident choosing drugstore skincare products without prescription to maintain their personal care routines. And lastly, e-commerce play a dominant role in cosmetic distribution in Indonesia. This opens up great opportunities for new and imported brands. Even without physical retail presence, many can still succeed through online platform alone. Next, we move into section 2, regulatory landscape. In this section, we will discuss the competent authority responsible for regulating cosmetics in Indonesia, as well as regulatory frameworks that govern cosmetic products in the country. In Indonesia, cosmetic product notification is regulated by BPOM, which is our National Agency of Drug and Food Control. BPOM is responsible for evaluating compliance, ensuring that cosmetic products meet the required standard and issuing notification number. In addition, handling notification process, BPOM also conduct post-market surveillance to ensure ongoing compliance of product already in the market. Before products submit to BPOM at national level, the process is supported by Provincial Technical Implementation Unit the BPOM, known as the Balai Besar POM. BBPOM is also responsible for inspection and certification process and also responsible for overseeing the distribution of cosmetic products at the regional level. Lastly, as we move towards the implementation mandatory halal certification, BPGPH, as Indonesia Halal Product Assurance Organizing Agency, is responsible for halal product assurance in Indonesia, ensuring that products circulating in the market comply with halal standards. As shown in the slide is complete regulatory framework for cosmetic products along with an official links to relevant guidelines. It includes the regulatory governed initial steps for importer cosmetics until the halal mandatory for halal regulation. Now that we have explored the market data, competent authority, and regulatory framework, let's move forward to know how product notification process in Indonesia and what requirements to entering the Indonesia market. This slide outlines the key steps required before cosmetic products are allowed to be imported in Indonesia. Since only locally registered business entity in Indonesia might act as product notification holder, an overseas business can choose establish the legal entity by themselves, or they can choose the appoint the third party as local representative. This entity or local representative will be legally responsible for product compliance, safety, and post-market surveillance. Under the BPOM Regulation Numbers 10 of 2021, business must hold the appropriate KBLI code for cosmetic importers. The relevant code for cosmetic importer will be KBLI 46443 for wholesale trade of cosmetics, which permits sales to sub-distributor or retailers, but does not allow direct sales to end consumers. However, the standard certificate from Ministry of Health is required. In addition to standard certificate for wholesalers, business entity must also obtain an importer recommendation as cosmetic notification applicant. This issued by BPOM in the same province as the business location. Then, before submitting the product notification, the business entity must first register a Notifcost account. This requires providing company details and submitting the recommendation letter obtained during the previous process. BPOM will review and process the account registration within 14 working days after receiving all required documents. After account is approved, the company might begin the product notification process via the Notifcost system, and BPOM will evaluate within 14 working days, and we will get the result in the one of following outcomes: approve, confirmation, and reject. Once the notification number has been obtained, the business entity may proceed importation and distribution in Indonesia. As explained in the previous slide, a standard certificate is required for cosmetic wholesalers. The current slide is the key requirements for obtaining the certificates. It is important to note if there are any changes to business name, business address, responsible person, or the addition or modification of warehouse address, the business must reapply or to obtain an updated standard certificate. After acquiring the standard certificate for wholesale trade, the next step is to obtain an importer recommendation as cosmetic notification applicant. The application process requires the submission of administrative documents through the OSS system. The list of administrative document requirements is shown on the left. The document will be reviewed by BPOM, and once declared complete, BPOM will proceed a scheduled facility inspection within 7 working days after they receive an administrative documents. Other than administrative requirements, the business must also comply the facility or warehouse requirements and also the document requirements. And before inspection takes place, all facility requirements and technical documents must also be prepared. Regarding the technical documents, it is related with the standard operating procedure and record keeping form that support daily cosmetic distribution activities. This also covers management procedure related to handling and reject and return products, Also, it will include inventory form and cosmetic and stock card, complaint handling, product recall and destruction, managing retained samples, and also labeling for necessary labeling if cosmetic importers conduct labeling additional in Indonesia. After a facility inspection, BPOM will issue the importer recommendation within 5 working days. However, if there are deficiencies in either facility or technical documents, the business entity is required to submit correction through CAPA report in accordance with the improvement request by the BPOM. Same with the standard certificates. If there are any changes to critical company details, the business entity must submit new application to obtain an updated importer recommendation. Now that we've gone through the steps required when establishing a legal entity in Indonesia, let's discuss an alternative path. If the business chooses to appoint third-party representative, we can skip the entity registration process and jump straight into creating company account in the Notifco system. This option can significantly simplify and accelerate the market entry into Indonesia. Let me break down some key advantages of choosing the third party. In terms of setup time, it will be faster using third party since we can bypass the length of legal entity registration. Establishing company, on the other hand, it will be longer because it requires for company certification and obtain importer recommendation. It will also be cost-wise because establishing a local company entails the higher financial commitment, including operational expenses for office, warehouse, staff, or operation. It will be lower cost because no additional personnel requires or set up the warehouse necessary. In terms of the regulatory focus, a third party is also usually more experienced in handling regulatory submission, which reduce the compliance burden. In terms of flexibility, third party allows to change representative. Instead, a locally established company has more internal control but less flexibility once system and staff are in place. Next are confidentiality. It's often stronger with third party because we have a stronger NDA with focused regulatory partner, and ultimately for long-term potential, establishing your own company can provide stronger market presence and full control, but for short-term and mid-term plans, especially when testing market demand, using third-party representative is highly efficient. Since we know how effective we choose using third party as representative, business can bypass all legal entity registration into these steps. According to BPOM Regulation Number 21 of 2022, this is a requirement for Notifco account registration. First, recommendation letter as cosmetic notification applicant, as previously obtained or which already obtained by third-party representative. Secondly, a signed statement letter that by the company director confirming that they are not involved in any criminal offense related to the cosmetics. Thirdly, is letter of authorization. It must be valid with at least 6 months before expiration and containing the following details: name and address of the foreign manufacturer or principal, name of the importer, brand and or cosmetic product name, date of issuance and expiry date, authorization to perform notification, importation and distribution, and also name and signature of the director or principal representative. Fourth is certificate free of sale or CFS. CFS is required for import cosmetic from non-ASEAN countries and must be issued by competent authority and or recognized institution in the country of origin. Fifth is Good Manufacturing Practice Certificate. It must be issued by government authority or recognized body in the country of origin and must be valid for at least 3 months before expiration. CFS and GMP certificate must be legalized through apostille by the competent authority in the country of origin if issued in a country that is party to the apostille convention. However, if the issued by non-apostille country, the CFS and GMP certificate must be legalized by Indonesian embassy or consulate in the country of origin. Lastly, the document required is trademark certificate or license agreement. If the applicants own the brands, a copy of the trademark certificate must be submitted. But if the applicant is licensed user, a copy of the license agreement between the brand owner and the applicant must be submitted. But if using unregistered brand in Indonesia, the applicant might still proceed with the notification application by fulfilling the general requirements by submitting a notarized statement declaring their willingness to have notification number revoked if another party later proves rightful ownership of the brand of the cosmetic product name. Now we talk about responsible person requirements. As previously mentioned in the slide on the obtaining standard certificate and also in the importer recommendation for notification applicant. Appointing responsible person is mandatory requirement for cosmetic importers. However, the responsible person must also meet the specific requirements from the Minister of Health Regulation number 17 of 2024. First, let's look at the minimum qualification. Importers must appoint at least a pharmacist as the responsible persons. For distributors, whether they hold notification numbers or not, the responsible person must be at least vocational pharmacy technician. And in addition to meeting those qualifications, the following supporting documents must be submitted. First, academic certificate, then valid profession registration certificate for pharmacists or vocational pharmacy technicians, a valid pharmacist practice license or CPA for pharmacists, and a valid STR-TTK for the vocational pharmacy technician, and both issued by the health department based on each province business license. Next is statement of full-time employment and cooperation agreement between the responsible person and business entity, and lastly, an ID card. Let's remember when a third-party representative is appointed, the requirement for this for responsible person are no longer primarily concerned because it's already designated by the representative. Next, we jump into import requirement. The importation of cosmetic products into Indonesia must receive an approval from BPOM. The approval is granted in the form of import approval or SKI. Imported cosmetics are required to obtain an SKI border. SKI border is an official import approval document that must be obtained before goods are released from the customs. And the SKI must be submitted for every importation or shipment. To obtain SKI, the following requirements as shown on the slide must be met. After the company account is approved in the BPOM Notifco system, business can submit their cosmetic product notification application electronically via the same platform. Step 1 is to complete the notification template. This required information include OSS ID. This must be obtained in advance for each product from your OSS account within the OSS system before starting the notification process. And then product name, color as stated in the COA, dosage form, product category in accordance with the Appendix 1 of BPOM Regulation number 21 of 2022, usage type, whether rinse off or leave on, application area, brief description of product use or function, PIF link, the storage link for the PIF, packaging details including primary and secondary packaging and any variations, volume, net weight, and its variation, list of cosmetic ingredients including ingredient name or INCI name, function, and percentage. Regarding the PIF link, BPOM introduced NotifCOS 3.0 in July 2024, which brought significant update to how the product information file is managed and submitted. Starting early in 2025, it became fully mandatory for all notification applicants to provide an official access link for each product's PIF. While BPOM is not evaluate the PIF directly during the initial process of notification, applicants are permitted to log the file. And BPOM might request access if additional supporting documents are needed during the evaluation or inspection stage. These requirements was implemented due to the low compliance with the BPOM Regulation number 17 of 2023 regarding the PIF, which already state that PIF must be prepared before notification submission. But in practice, many applicants delayed submitting necessary supporting documents during confirmation process, even though such documents should already been available in the PIF prior to initiating notification process. Next step is the system will issue an electronic payment instruction. After successful payment, the system will issue the ID number and signifying the product has entered the BPOM evaluation query. BPOM will evaluate the application and the outcome will fall into one of the three results. First, approved, BPOM will issue the notification number. Secondly, confirmation, BPOM will request BPOM will request an additional document or clarifications. Applicant have up to the 3 chances to respond. Each confirmation stage is evaluated within 14 working days from the submission date. Failure to provide sufficient document after 3 rounds will result in rejection. Or the last result, we will get rejected if the product contains prohibited ingredients, the concentration of ingredients exceeds the regulatory limits, or if the company fails to complete the confirmation process within the specified time frame. If the product gets notification number, we may allow the import the products. Once notification number is issued, it will be valid for 3 years and may renew through formal update application. Renewal only allowed if there are not any change in the products and must be submitted at least 30 days before the expiry date. A business entity required to submit a new notification number in the event of the following change. The change in the name of manufacturer, importer, or business entity, the change in the address of manufacturer or importer, change in the formula or composition of the product, change in the packaging size or type, change in the addition of a manufacturer. A common question we receive is whether the notification is required if only packaging design such as layout or color or font style is changed. The answer is as long as the product content or formula remains unchanged, the notification is not necessary. Now that we already know about the process notification in Indonesia, To avoid rejection during the cosmetic product notification process, it is essential to understand the applicable product requirements. These requirements ensure that cosmetic products meet the criteria of standard safety, efficacy, quality, labeling, and claims. For beginning, the definition of cosmetic products are products or preparation intended for use on the external parts of the human body such as the epidermis, hair, nails, lips, outer genital organs, or teeth, and oral mucous membranes, primarily for cleansing, perfuming, modifying appearance, and or improving body odor or protecting and maintain the body in good condition. Therefore, if the product requires delivery methods such as microneedle, so it will below the epidermis, it will not categorize as cosmetic based on these definitions. All business entities intending to distribute cosmetics in Indonesia are required to ensure that the products meet the criteria of safety, efficacy, quality, labeling, and claims. To guarantee compliance with this criteria, cosmetic must obtain a marketing authorization in the form notification number. BPOM is responsible for ensuring that the circulating cosmetic meet the required criteria and for issuing the notification number. Regulatory compliance is essential to successful market entry. In the first section of product requirements, we will discuss relating the technical requirements for cosmetic ingredients. The regulatory framework outlines the detailed technical requirements, particularly to several annexes. Annex 1 is regulated permitted ingredients with restriction. Annex 2 is for permitted colorants. Annex 3 is for permitted preservatives. Annex 4 is for permitted UV filters. Annex 5 is for prohibited ingredients. In Indonesia, cosmetic ingredients are regulated under three main regulations, all which are currently still in effect. First, BPOM Regulation Number 23 of 2019. The main body of regulation remains valid. However, all annexes from 1 to 5 have been officially revoked. Secondly, BPOM Regulation Number 17 of 2022. The additional provision introduced remain applicable. However, Annex 1 to 4 have been revoked, while the Annex 5, which is prohibited ingredients, are still valid and enforced. Lastly, BPOM Decree number 479 of 2023. This decree replaced Annex 1 until 4 and introduced significant updates in alignment with ASEAN Cosmetic Directive or ACD agreements. BPOM is currently drafting a new consolidated regulation to replace the three existing regulations to improve efficiency and alignment with the latest ASEAN Cosmetic or ACD updates. The public consultation draft can be accessed here. Although the draft is already publicly socialized, it has not been officially enacted. Therefore, as for now, all stakeholders must continue referring to the three existing regulations and the valid annex currently in force. To ensure the safety and quality of the product imported and circulated in Indonesia, business entities are required to conduct contaminant testing in accordance with the BPOM Regulation Number 16 of 2024 on contaminant limits in cosmetics. The testing ensures that the product do not exceed the maximum allowable contaminant limits, and the testing must be conducted at an accredited laboratory or an in-house laboratory of cosmetic manufacturer holding a valid GMP certificate. Contaminants in cosmetics are classified into three categories. First are microbial contaminants, and then heavy metal contaminants, and lastly chemical contaminants. This slide presents the microbial contaminant limit. The required contaminant parameters for microbial to be tested include total plate count, mold and yeast count, specified microorganisms such as Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Staphylococcus aureus, and Candida albicans. BPOM requires that the test result must clearly state in quantitative values. It is not acceptable to merely report only pest without including the actual test figures. Next is heavy metal contaminant limit. The required heavy metal to be tested is mercury, lead, arsenic, and cadmium. As with microbial tests, the test result must explicitly state the detected concentration of each heavy metals and not just indicate the compliance, such as PES. Lastly, testing is mandatory for certain chemical contaminants in cosmetics, specifically for 1,4-dioxanes. It is required if the product contains ingredient manufactured via ethoxylation, such as sodium laureth sulfate or polyethylene glycol. Secondly is acrylamide. It is required if the product contains polyacrylamide-based ingredients. And lastly, contaminant from diethylene glycol. It is required for product containing ethylene glycol, diethylene glycol, or their derivatives. In addition to ensuring compliance with safety and efficacy and quality requirements, cosmetic products must also meet labeling and claims regulations. It is important to note that labeling is not evaluated during the product notification process by BPOM. Instead, it is subject to post-market surveillance, even if the product includes specific claim on the packaging. Let's discuss about labeling and language requirement first. Labeling and language requirements set forth by BPOM Regulation Number 18 of 2024 on labeling, promotion, and advertising of cosmetic. According to this regulation, cosmetic label must include at the minimum following information. First are product name. The name must match the one registered or approved by BPOM. Then function or benefit, direction for use. The benefit and usage might be excluded if the product function are considered obvious to the consumer, such as lipstick. And then composition or ingredient list, country of origin, name and address of notification holder, batch number, volume, content, and net weight, expiration date, notification number, 2D barcode, warning or precautions, and also halal label or halal logo. In addition to required information, the product notification holder might include halal label or halal logo, but only after obtaining an official halal certificate from authorized institution or PPGPH. Labeling must also appear on both in primary and secondary packaging, but if there are any size or shape limitation on the primary packaging must at least include product name, batch number, and also volume or content or weight. For language requirements, the benefit, direction, and warning or precaution must be written in Bahasa Indonesia. Other than that, might be written in either Bahasa Indonesia or foreign language, as long as Latin letters and Arabic numeral are used. For claims, although claims are also subject to the post-market surveillance, claims reflected in the product name are often evaluated during the notification process. BPOM frequently rejects product names that are considered overclaim to the confirmation process. Therefore, This should be a key consideration for business entity before initiating the notification process to ensure compliance with the technical requirements for claims, whether on the labeling or in the advertising materials. It must be accordance with the BPOM Regulation Number 3 of 2022 on technical requirements for cosmetic claims. Claims must be legally compliant, truthful, honest, fair, verifiable, clear and easy to understand, and also must not imply medicinal property or suggest that the product prevents or treats disease. Now I will share the example of regulated claims under the Annex BPOM Regulation Number 3 of 2022. Claims such as dermatology test, hypoallergenic, and clinically test is allowed if only supported by the relevant data and validate methodology. And claims such as anti-irritation, non-comedogenic, or blemish-free skin, those are commonly found claims but prohibited and are not allowed under the BPOM regulations. What happens if such claims are already printed on the packaging? During the notification or post-market inspection process, BPOM might require these claims to be removed, covered, or adjusted to align with approved or compliant terminology. This often includes the physical covering of non-compliant claims on the packaging as shown in the example image, like this. In the final section, we will discuss halal certification in Indonesia. Cosmetics are amongst the product categories that must obtain halal certification to be circulated and traded in Indonesia. According to the law number 32 of 2014 on halal product assurance, all products that enter, circulate, and traded in Indonesia must be halal certified, except for those that are explicitly classified as haram. More specifically, at Government Regulation Number 42 of 2024, Article 161 outlines that halal certification for cosmetics, chemical products, and genetically modified products officially began on October 17, 2021, must be complete no later than October 17, 2026. Business entity or companies must complete these document requirements for halal certification process. The halal certification process is managed by BPJPH under the Ministry of Religious Affairs. They are responsible for managing the halal certification, but the technical audit and assessment are conducted by LBPOM MUI, which they report the result to MUI Fatwa Committee, and they will be issued the halal fatwa. The final halal certificate will be granted by BPJPH based on the fatwa issued by the MUI. There are the three critical points that companies must address to obtain halal certification in Indonesia. First, facility. Facility must be free from contamination by forbidden or haram or impure substances. Secondly, ingredients. All ingredients must be halal or classified as non-critical materials. Even ingredients fall under the critical category but lacks halal certification, companies must provide the supporting documentation. Lastly, halal system integrity. Companies must implement and maintain the robust procedure to prevent cross-contamination risk. Strict separation between halal and non-halal products is essential to ensure the ongoing halal compliance. However, beyond compliance, halal certification will increase the product market value and enhance the consumer trust. It is also allows the product to tap into the large and rapidly growing halal market. And lastly, there is a strong consumer base for halal certified cosmetic, particularly among Muslim women. That brings us to the end of today's presentation. I hope the insights shared have helped provide a clearer picture of the opportunities, challenge, and key consideration for expanding your cosmetic products into Indonesia. As part of our support for marketing entry and compliance, we offer expert regulatory support to navigate Indonesia's BPOM notification number. Our service include product license holder service. We will register your products under our Indonesian companies to have more flexible local distribution strategy. Ingredient compliance review, labeling and packaging review, notification submission, PIF compilation, regulatory consulting, updates monitoring, and also training. In addition to cosmetic service, we also have offers comprehensive support in areas food, chemical, and pesticide, as outlined in our full service portfolio. With extensive experience supporting over 1,000 global cosmetic companies, Reach24H is your trusted partner in navigating Indonesia's regulatory landscape, ensuring your products are fully compliant and ready for a successful launch. This is the end of the session. Hope you find it useful. Thank you for listening.